Good morning again, and welcome once again to the Brenda Perryman Show right here on TV 33, WHPR, Comcast 90, and Comcast 91, all over the world, courtesy of the World Wide Web. And it is my pleasure to welcome back to the show Mr. Eddie Connor. Good morning. Dr. Eddie Connor, excuse me. He's so young. He's so young. I just want to say Mr. But
well, you know, black don't crack. So.
Black don't crack.
You know,
so you, okay. You are young.
You're looking pretty young yourself. So.
Well. But anyway, I am so happy about your new book.
Yes.
My Brother's Keeper. But let's first do a quick review for those people who don't know you as to who you are and what you do, and about how long you've been in Detroit.
Absolutely. You know, I just got to first say appreciate you for having me come to the table. You know, they say if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
I know.
But appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. You're definitely one of Detroit's divas.
Oh, I'm not trying. Don't use that term.
Absolutely.
I'm just Brenda.
But that's divinely inspired, victorious, accomplished sister. So we appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
And, you know, I'm a son of the city. I'm from the east side of Detroit.
East side?
East side represent.
You're supposed to say east side.
Warren and Connor. East side.
Right.
Yeah. So I just have a knack to empower people to overcome obstacles. I dealt with and grapple with being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer at the age of 15, and to be diagnosed with cancer at the age of 15 was just totally life changing, and losing my hair, my self-esteem, growing up without a father in my life, and discovering the first 3 letters in cancer is CAN through God's word and through healing power. And that's why I'm here. And so
I want to give a shout out to your mom.
Yes, my mom, Dr. Janice Connor, pushed me to overcome that disease and really inspire people as a result.
To be so young and to go through that, it just, how did you feel?
I was definitely...
When they told you, did you understand what cancer was?
Not at all. You know, the doctor told me you have NHL. I said, I'm getting ready to be the youngest owner of a National Hockey League team.
Yeah.
That was my own conception at that time, but it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so to me, it was a death sentence. The doctor says, don't ask why. And that's the question I asked for about 18 months, close to 2 years. Why me? Why now? Chemo, radiation, 5 days a week. Definitely depressed, dismayed, and discombobulated internally. And you know, if I'm telling you I believed every single day I was going to overcome and make it, I'm lying to you. But I had to find the hope and the faith and dig deep and persevere. And that energy has been the reason why I contribute and give back to people. Dr. George Fraser says, once you learn and earn, then you must return back to your community.
Absolutely.
Definitely have been teaching.
You went to Eastern?
Yeah,
also?
I went to Eastern, yeah.
I did too.
Yeah, I went to Eastern Michigan, and we at EMU Eagles, you know, we always fly high.
Yeah, when I was there, they were the Hurons. Before they started taking away those Indian names, you know.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and,
but
been a professor
the education piece, you know,
absolutely.
was there.
Absolutely. The education piece was totally there. And, you know, for me to do what I do, it's nothing but the grace of God and definitely a test of hard work. My guidance counselor told me, keyword guidance counselor, at the age of 17, Eddie, you're not going to college. You're not college material. Don't even think about community college. Matter of fact, pick up a trade. And I use that negative.
What do they know? My senior teacher told me I wouldn't make it through college a year, but she had her own reasons for that.
Yeah. You know, you got to use the hateration as your elevation, so to speak. And
right.
For a lady who told me I'd never go to college to now be a professor out of college,
right,
to get a PhD, but for her it stood for a player-hater degree.
I know, and I ran into that woman.
Yeah.
Well, it was a nun. It was a nun. I mean, for a sister, to tell you, because I went to a little Catholic school.
Yeah.
And when she saw me just about 6 years later, she said, "So, what'd you do?" And I said, "Well, I have my master's now." You know, it kind of broke her face, but I had to do some catharsis and write a real long letter about what teachers do to impact children. And if I had not been stronger, or you had not been stronger, we might have believed what they said.
Absolutely.
You know, would have taken it to heart, because they might have been someone we respected. But like you said, you use the hateration for motivation.
Yeah, absolutely,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
So you have several books out, don't you?
Yes, yes. This is my sixth one.
6 books.
Right. I started writing I never wanted to be a writer. I wrote my first book after my mom was pushing me and encouraged me, say, "Hey, you got to write this story." I said, "I'm gonna do this as as an honor to you, and this be the only book I write." A 23-year-old college student writing on Eastern Michigan's campus, broke. Literally, I had $1 and a dream. Literally $1. And so to now have written 6 is just incredible what
Yeah,
I've been able to
yeah.
do. And so it's all about empowering people.
Why don't you tell the titles of those before we get to this?
Sure. My first one is Purposefully Prepared to Persevere, and that's where I detail my tragedy and triumph to overcome cancer. The second one is Collections of Reflections. It's a 3-volume set of poetry. My third one is Econ the Icon, From Pop Culture to President Barack Obama, analyzing the disparities between segregation, discrimination, and presidential inauguration twice. Then there's also Unwrap the Gift in You, using your gift to empower people. Then there's Heal Your Heart, a book on relationships. And now here we come here to the book My Brother's Keeper.
My Brother's Keeper. So where'd you get the title? You know, we hear that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. One way I got the title, of course, in the Bible, the first question we ever hear being recorded is Adam, God saying to Adam, "Where are you?" And that's not just a question on location, it's a question on relationship. But then the second question is, now we see man asking God a question after Cain slays his brother Abel. Am I my brother's keeper? Which is really a rhetorical question, and one that we continue to ask throughout the human condition. Then there's also President Obama's initiative, My Brother's Keeper initiative, which has really been a hot button issue, providing access and opportunity for Black and Hispanic brothers across America. You think about what Frederick Douglass says. He says if we build strong children, we won't have to repair broken adults. I like to remix it and say if we build strong boys, we won't have to repair broken men.
Right.
Yeah, and so Dr.
Well, you
King.
forgot
Yeah.
about that No Brother's My Brother's Keeper from Nino Brown.
Oh, yes, there we go. Pop culture on us.
Pop culture. You know, I am my brother's keeper.
That's right. That's right.
You know, oh, Lord. I'm sorry. I had to think.
Nino Brown, classic. That's classic.
I know, but I thought, you know. Yeah.
And really, it's a book to repair, restore, and reconcile ourselves to each other, our families, and our communities. Dr. King says we're going to live together as brothers or perish together as fools.
As fools,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And
So-
with this book here, who is it marketed to?
Well, I like to say it's for our boys. It's definitely for our men, but also the ladies who love them. And you think about parents, you think about teachers, you think about mentors and pastors, anybody who cares about the human condition, not just looking at
Go on.
not just looking at the problems, but also developing some substantive strategies to be able to look at the recourse of what is going on from the school system in Detroit to the water system in Flint.
Absolutely, because you know, I was going to say a lot of people are raising boys, but they don't know what to do with these boys.
Right, absolutely. And one thing that I have done, because I have a mentoring program called Boys to Books, and if you think I'm waving books down the hallway, telling them to come in, that's definitely not the way that you're going to get them. I believe one thing that you have to do is relate to our young brothers where they are. And our brothers operate off of relationship, but you can't develop a relationship without trust. And if you give your word, you have to back up that word with action. You know, oftentimes the experience is in contrast to their experience. The experiences that they have really don't align with their expectation. They've been experienced. Somebody told them, "I'll give you this. You'll get that. This is what I'm going to do. I'll be there Saturday," and you don't show up.
A lot of times that may be the blood relative.
Yeah,
the
oftentimes,
father, the uncle. Yeah.
right. And so now oftentimes you stand in proxy for an absentee father. Really, our brothers are crying out in many ways that it's shed through the rage, the anger, that is oftentimes because it's a lack of love, a lack of somebody who just says, you know what, I see something great in you. Let me not just tell you how to be successful. Let me show you.
Absolutely. You know, talk is cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have to align that conversation with our action. And we have to go out here and implement some change in our communities, especially one thing especially that I've been using with books is culturally relevant literature. Walter D. Meyer says, if we're not in the book, what does that say about my value? So to give young brothers books that shows them the whole aspect of, yes, you deal with communities that are cesspools, but how do you get out of it? How do you use substances strategies to be able to engage your gift and to be able to use it and
Yes,
implement
and to motivate people to do that, because I was talking last night or maybe early today, who knows, I talk so much, but I was talking about uncomfortable situations, bad situations that people get used to, and they become their comfort zone.
Right.
You know, an uncomfortable situation can become a person's comfort zone because they're familiar with it. You know, familiar is better than stepping out. And you and people like you who have programs for these young men or have relationships, show them how they can step out, or show them not to be afraid and to step out in the discovery.
Absolutely. You know, complacency really is the enemy of galvanizing opportunity. And when we give our brothers some help, some hope to overcome the hardship that they faced, that's when you can really begin to see some change and some growth and development. You know, the tragedy is when our young brothers can't pass math, but they can be on the streets and convert kilos to grams.
Yeah.
You know,
That's scary.
yeah. So how do we engage, you know, their ideals and their mindset? And, you know, oftentimes, because we have so many great teachers, and, you know, I'm definitely supportive of our teachers, but sometimes oftentimes we treat the school system will treat boys like defective girls.
I hate that. I hate that you say that, but it's so
Yeah.
true. And the fear of the black man or black young man is possessed by some teachers.
Right. How can I teach who I'm afraid of?
I will never forget this young man running down to my classroom and saying, this was after the Rodney King verdict, where the police were let off. A Caucasian teacher said to his class, he said, well, that was good. You know, that was good that they were let off. Yeah, he deserved to be beat. He said this to the
Ridiculous.
student. And I remember Will running down to me. He said, Miss Pyramid, this is what he said. Do you know I followed that teacher to the parking lot? I don't know what possessed me. Not like I was going to beat him up, but I followed him and I confronted him on that. How dare you?
That's ridiculous.
How dare you? It's like the fear. The fear. I'm going to bring you down some more. You know?
Absolutely. You know, and society's already done a quote unquote good job of doing that.
Oh, God,
and so to have another reinforcement or words that continue to exacerbate that and push them deeper into the abyss of apathy is just ridiculous.
Right. Now you have 6 building blocks for boys to become men.
Right. Just a few of those building blocks. One is a book, of course. That is, you have to invest into yourself. Readers are leaders. You know, they say 60% of the residents in the city of Detroit are functionally illiterate. Also, the myth and misperception is that if you put something in a book, it's easy to hide it from a black man, is what they say.
Yeah.
If you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say. So to unearth that and really to go into the greatness of who they are, I tell my young brothers all the time, every young man needs a belt. Of course, we always talk about their sagging pants, but oftentimes there's a sagging goals, there's sagging communities, there's sagging homes, there's sagging dreams, there's sagging mindset. If we can pull up all those other areas that are surrounding it, the pants are not going to be anything to pull up.
Also, tell us about your mentoring program,
Yeah.
because do you have anything that I'm sure you apply everything in here
Absolutely.
during your mentoring program, but tell us about it.
Yeah, and really that was the engine to kind of put the key in the ignition to write that book. I've been working with young men really around the year of 2011, just being in the school system and seeing oftentimes when our young men open up a book, their eyes close, seeing the ambivalence
Really?
to reading. And I said, this is an opportunity for me to mentor even after school and spend some time with our young brothers and really talk about what it means to be a man. A man is not just someone who operates in their gender, but they use their God-given gift through respect and responsibility. So how do I teach these young men to be a man? And came through my master's and really looked at the literacy and incarceration epidemic, which is so interconnected, building prisons based on second and third grade reading scores, which is really prisoners' big business. And
goodness, yeah.
our brown and black brothers are targets of that. And so really mentoring our young guys, taking them under my wing, whether just being a counselor or advocate or just a listening ear and a friend to them, really began to saw change in their grades, saw change as there were sons in their homes and really just young men in their communities. And many of these young men, especially who weren't doing well, now in college, now majoring in journalism, now in engineering, as they've been able to engineer their lifestyle to move to the next level. And so it's really just been a breakthrough component to where you just take that step to invest yourself. And you got to be transparent. You got to let them know, hey, you know what? My life ain't been peaches and cream. You see this suit? Guess what? There's a lot of scars under here.
Yeah.
But I got through. Let me show you how to do the same.
Right.
And
right.
so that's really just been the blessing behind it, to empower our young men to recognize their value, to know their worth, and then to also invest in themselves and use it, stir up their gift.
And choices.
Choices, absolutely.
Let's talk about choices.
Oh, choices are the fork in the road. That's the building block. Because oftentimes, oftentimes our young men are pushed into certain aspects of life where society has made some choices for them, that this is going to be the ceiling that you're going to be able to not even aspire past. And when we show our young men, this is what you need to do to be successful in the community. This is what you need to do, especially if you are pulled over by the police. Don't get in oftentimes a fit of rage on a routine stop. This is what you need to understand when you are a target of police brutality. But this is also what you need to understand in relationship to making proper choices and decisions, staying away from the wrong crowd, staying away from a life of drugs and gangs and violence, because it's a cycle and it's a system that we have to break.
Right, absolutely. A cycle. When I look at young men, I know what they're dealing with or have the potential to be dealing with out there.
Right.
And so you have to, as a teacher, because you teach too, you have to inspire these people to believe they're better than what society says they are.
Right. If you think little of yourself, you'll do little. If you think much, you'll do much. And so the mission, the mindset is to get our young people to think much of themselves. And you have to put images in front of them where it shows them that they come from kings and queens, that their history doesn't begin with slavery, but they understand that there's a king and a queen on the inside of them. You stand on the shoulders of Martin, Malcolm, Medgar. You stand on the shoulders of Rosa Parks and many other individuals, as well as not just going into the sports and the entertainment, but guess what? If I don't get into the NBA, I can still earn an MBA and be a owner of the NBA and the team.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
So
but getting them to know that.
Right. That takes that has to be an action plan. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not episodic.
And they have to know
consistency.
as they go through, whether it's college or a training program, everybody isn't going to be that encourager.
Right. That's true.
Everybody's not, and how to get yourself to just get the material and not worry about the messenger as much. That stops a lot of people.
Absolutely. That's something that I had to understand. Eat the hay, spit out the stubble, so to speak. Just get what I need and keep on moving, because everybody's not going to have a heart for you. But you have to love yourself enough to say, I got to press past ego, I got to press past personalities, because I have a path to purpose that I have to engage in and move towards the road of my destiny.
It's so much to do. And when you see what's going on in society as far as black males are concerned, be them teens or be them men.
Right.
Because when I think about that, I have two things that really bother me as far as what has happened to black men. Not and they both are from South Carolina, both last year. One was the gentleman who was stopped by the cop at the gas station, and when he reached back in to get his ID, the cop started shooting him. And the young man was saying, "Sir," I mean, the gentleman
right,
was saying, "Sir, why are you shooting me, sir? Well, you're reaching for something, you know." And here the guy is shot and saying, "Sir, why?" And like I said, fear of the black man.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, of course, was it Freddie Green? No, it was somebody, the guy in South Carolina,
Yeah, Walter Scott.
Walter
Right,
Scott,
right.
who was running and
Yeah.
being shot in the back.
Right.
You know, first time I saw that, I wasn't warned that was going to
Yeah.
happen.
Vicious racism, white supremacy. It's what it is. And it's just like you said, the fear of the black man. And you can even give all these brothers all the principles in relationship to how to deal with the police. But if a man wants to grab his gun from his holster and shoot somebody in a fit of rage because of racism and the white supremacy that is so entrenched in a heart of just hardship and ridiculous rage, that's
Right.
going to happen.
Right,
That's unfortunate.
absolutely, absolutely.
And so we have to prepare our young men to understand that this society is not a game. You have to be aware. You got to be conscientious of what's going on around you, and you got to understand that we have to be our brother's keeper. Black lives also have to matter to black people too.
Black lives need to matter to black lives. That's my
Yeah,
other
yeah.
mantra. But My Brother's Keeper by Dr. Eddie Connor, who has been on the Steve Harvey Show, by the way.
Yeah.
Where can we get it?
You can get this on my website. I'd like to say
It just came out the other day.
it just came out on MLK Day, so we're still in the infancy stages. But the revolution will not only be televised, it'll be digitized. So just go to the website. It's eddieconnor.com, EDDIECONNOR.com. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold. You can get this book in your hand.
You heard it here. See, we got him right out off the presses. So, Eddie, thank you so much. And
Appreciate
keep
you.
up the great work. I really appreciate what you're doing, and I care a lot about you. And like I said, tell your mother hello.
I sure will.
I always
sure
give
will.
her
It's
that
all love.
shout
Yeah,
out.
you do.
You know. 'Cause
Appreciate you.
I know how it is to raise a black man.
Yeah.
I know how it is.
Yeah.
We'll be back in just a moment with Table Talk, and we have some hot topics today. I mean, hot topics. So we will see you in just a few moments. Thank you.